else did. Hardware makers looked at Magic Cap and passed because the technology was too advanced for 1993. At the same time, Apple released the Newton PDA in 1993, which got way more attention, but still flopped. Both failures showed that the world wasn't ready for handheld computers yet, and by 1995, General Magic, the company that wanted to invent the future, was under severe financial pressure, marking the start of a downward spiral because they were too early. But Rubin learned something crucial from the failure. He knew exactly how to build a smartphone. He understood what worked, what didn't, and what the world would eventually need. After General Magic failed, Rubin decided to leave Apple, co-founding Artemis Research, and built Web TV, a system merging television with the internet, which Microsoft bought in 1997. Suddenly, Rubin found himself working for Microsoft, and he hated every second of it. The corporate bureaucracy crushed him so hard that by 1999 he quit and decided to bet on himself one more time. This time, Rubin founded Danger Inc. and was determined to get it right. He built a device called the Sidekick, which had features that were unheard of at the time, like apps, cloud storage, and it put the internet in your pocket years before the iPhone existed. To get it to market, he partnered with T-Mobile, who sold it as the T-Mobile Sidekick. The device became a massive hit with young people, and two guys at Google were paying attention. Larry Page and Sergey Brin became obsessed with the Sidekick because it used Google as a default search engine, putting Google search in people's hands wherever they went. They'd remember Rubin in time to come. For now, Rubin had finally proved his vision worked. He'd created a hit product. Danger Inc. was successful and everything was going great. But the T-Mobile partnership came with a serious cost. Because T-Mobile was selling the device, they controlled everything. What features were allowed, how it was branded, who owned the customer relationship. Then Danger's board made it worse by pushing Rubin out as CEO, bringing in someone with more telecom experience. By this time, Rubin was done playing by other people's rules. He needed to build something nobody could control, and that's when the bigger vision hit him. What if he built an operating system that wasn't controlled by any single company? An open platform that anyone could use, manufacturers, carriers, developers, something that would make it impossible for anyone to lock him out again. In late 2003, Rubin left Danger and founded Android Inc., with 3 partners, naming it after his old Apple nickname. But Android wasn't originally designed for phones at all. Rubin and his team wanted to create an operating system for digital cameras. Their vision was to build cameras that could connect to computers and cloud servers, automatically storing and syncing photos through an Android data center. In 2004, they pitched this idea to investors who weren't buying it because the digital camera market was already declining. Everyone could see that phones were getting better cameras and standalone cameras were becoming less relevant. Rubin realized they needed to pivot fast. So 5 months later, they abandoned the camera idea and focused on building a mobile operating system to compete with Nokia's Symbian and Microsoft's Windows Mobile. Rubin believed there was a huge opportunity to create smarter mobile devices that understood location and user preferences. Here's what made it different. Android would be completely open source and free for anyone to use. There was just one problem. Android Inc. was completely broke. If you're enjoying this story, by the way, please hit that subscribe button. It's much appreciated. By 2004, Android was on the verge of disappearing, a situation that seemed to confirm what everyone was saying. No one could compete with Apple. The money was gone, the rent unpaid, and the landlord was threatening to evict them. But Rubin wasn't willing to give up. He knew his vision, an operating system that would challenge Apple, was worth every effort. Desperate, he called his friend Steve Perlman, the same guy he'd worked with at Web TV years earlier. Perlman went to the bank, withdrew $10,000 in cash, and handed it to Rubin just to keep the office. The next day, he wired over more money to keep Android alive because he